I'd imagine you got it. Or at least it should be.
Oh, I mean, my screen is still loading. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Awesemo.com live before lock show where we are slow. It is a Friday. I have a cold. We're persevering, though, because we have 14 MLB games to work through. One important pitcher has been ruled out for personal reasons. Well, I guess we could speculate on that later. But I'm Chris Spags, joined, as always, by another man in a red hat, Josh Engelman. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. A little irritated about the DeGrom news. Kind of changes the slate up a little bit. But what else are you going to do? I mean, I've been looking at this shit all day, so I'm in.
I can tell you what else you're going to do. You're going to watch this live stream and learn all about the various things going on therein and all the pivots off of DeGrom. And, oh, man, so many exciting things. We're also going to have our boss, the #1 player in the world, Mr. Alex Baker, better known as Awesemo, coming up. In about 10 minutes, he'll be joining us, fielding your questions, talking about his lineup card article, which is up right now for premium members, where he breaks down his views on the slate and where he's going. So if you're not a premium member, what are you doing? You're just hurting us emotionally every single day when you're not a premium member. So go sign up, read things, learn things, check out ownership projections and rankings and all of that. But before we get to Alex, I guess his article is about the entire slate, but let's just give our sort of general view on it first. What are you doing with this DeGrom news? You're really crestfallen over it.
Well, it's a lot. That's a big change when you get a guy that's going to be roughly 30% owned, and then he's like 13K. To cut that out is going to, that's a lot to redistribute. So it doesn't change anything too much. It just kind of moves me in directions that I didn't want to go in the first place. So
where is it moving you that you don't like?
It's not that I don't like it. It's that I liked what my position was before DeGrom. So I was going to be way lighter on Rich Hill than the field, and I was like, that made me happy. I was going to be way over the field on Pat Corbin. That made me happy. And now with DeGrom out, it's pulling both of those closer to the field and removing what I deem to be like an issue with everybody's projected ownership.
Okay, that makes sense. We still have, we have the pitchers, the highest owned pitchers being, I would say, fairly wacky ones.
Yeah.
Not wacky, makes sense in terms of a Vegas total, but we're currently projecting Rich Hill and Marcus Stroman to be the highest owned pitchers on the slate.
I'm quite a bit under those numbers.
I don't mind Stroman. I also see the logic in Hill, even though some of the righty bats on that side scare me. But it is odd. It's odd that those guys are going to be that highly owned.
Maybe they thought it was Braun instead of Marcus.
You can throw some heaters, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know. He'd either be really good at it or really bad at it.
Sure. He might just be an unathletic giant, though I think he is supposed to be athletic. I don't know. Braun Strowman, if you can throw a fastball, let us know.
Yeah, there's no telling.
I just assume if you're that big, you got to have a little gas there. Just a little gas.
Yeah, well, wasn't Carl Lewis's pitch one of the worst ever? And he's like an elite athlete.
But he's smaller. I just feel like there's too much muscle behind Braun Strowman. If you're not familiar, Braun Strowman is a gigantic professional wrestler who's also a former power lifter. It's just too much tricep muscle, I feel like, to not be able to throw some heat.
Possible.
Some heat, not a crazy amount. I wouldn't trust him on the mound for an entire game, but some heat, I would say. Anyway, what else are we looking at pitcher? I'm a big Patrick Corbin guy. I think he's going to have a good night. He jumps out to me. I guess, who do you feel like is going under-recognized on the slate, either because they're at a weird price or just, for whatever reason people aren't touting them that much?
Bauer, for sure. I think his projected ownership is too low. I'm still kind of surprised it's as low as it is. I've got quite a bit of Bauer. And then, let's see. I'm way ahead on Garrett Cole, too. Maybe McCollus a little bit. I'm just so far under on Stroman and Sal Romano and Marco Gonzalez that, I basically have everyone else in little bits instead of tons of those guys.
Romano we have being a little lesser owned out of those guys, but I'm never a Romano player. I also want to point out DeSclafani had an okay night, but not a great night, and I don't think he was in the winning lineup. So I want to circle back on that while we're talking about mediocre Reds pitchers.
There you
Also, while we're talking about things, my home run pick hit a home run yesterday. So that's what happens when you go with the Jesus.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
So I am now up another run on Josh, up 2 in total. Feeling good about that. Noah Rosen, I let me guess. You want to know about the weather? Josh, do we have any weather concerns? I think there's only one game that's even teetering on a weather concern, but seems like a pretty clear day, right?
Yeah, there's no issues when it comes to weather.
I think the Mets game I saw there was maybe a chance of rain, but I don't care. I'm not worried about that too much. Actually, let's talk about the Mets game just for a second. Their team totals have gone up quite a bit on both sides with the news that DeGrom isn't playing. I don't know. Any interest in those teams?
Not really. I have a little bit of Mets, more so on FanDuel probably, but I don't have a ton of interest in that game, all things considered. I'm certainly not taking Corey Oswalt or however we want to say that.
I actually don't think you can. He's not, at least not on DK. He's not available.
No, he's on the FanDuel player pool, but not DK.
Okay. So I don't love the Marlins, but I did put one in there just because I don't really know the depths of how bad or good Oswald is. I do think the Mets lefty hitters are a little interesting. The splits are pretty noticeable. Obviously, smaller sample size, but in the minors as well for Miami's pitcher. And I think Nimmo and Conforto actually have a couple little lineups of. I think they might be in an interesting spot. Sorry, McCott also points out I did almost pick Thames, who also donged. Yeah, I was all over the dongs in that game.
Game, wink, wink.
We don't make those jokes here, Josh. Or I'll lecture people. All day.
I make the joke. I didn't say there was a problem with it.
I
didn't judge it. I just said you did other stuff. That's a completely different kind of joke.
Since the Indians lineup isn't out yet, which catcher and first baseman do you have in the lineup? I don't have that in front of me.
Roberto Perez, and then I don't know, Encarnacion or Alonso. Take your pick.
I think the one that I currently have in front of me has Perez and both Encarnacion and Alonso in it. So yeah, I don't know. Sure, that'll come out soon, I'm sure. Top owned stacks tonight on FanDuel.
Let's see. Rangers, Angels, White Sox, Blue Jays.
Okay. Josh, do you like Hill more enough that the ownership projections are at 12% on FanDuel?
I am playing Hill more. I like Hill less.
Okay, sure.
I have increased ownership now that DeGrom is out. I would have preferred to stay where I was before. So, either way, I'm way under the field.
Okay. Hold on, just updating my Mariners.
We're projecting Hill for 35. I've got 23.
Okay. So you're right in line then, just about.
I mean, like 50% less than the total.
Oh, actually, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Sounds to me like you're not right.
Which players on Baltimore would you be into? They're a team with a surprisingly high total on this slate. How do you feel about the Orioles? Do you have any? And if so, which?
I don't remember seeing much. Mancini. I mean, the top 5, I guess. Mancini, Jones, Machado, Davis is pretty much all I have of any value. I'm a little bit higher than the field. I don't find them to be too interesting. They're okay. It's just, I mean, three of their top 5 hitters all have first base eligibility, so they're a really shit team to stack.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I would say the few lefties, I think I have like one stack with Davis and Cisco in it. Davis hit a home run yesterday too, and I kind of thought that he had a shot at that. I was surprised when I saw that come through. Maybe he figured it out. Maybe Chris Davis is a viable option to play at first base with all these guys. Probably not.
I wish that I could roster the actual Cisco, like Thong Song.
His yellow hair would be distracting at the plate, I think.
Probably a little bit.
I wonder what he looks like now. Like, probably not good.
Only one way to find out.
There is only one winner.
You have an Instagram? Yep, he got at Cisco. Good for him. Surprised somebody beat him to it.
I feel like he probably has an ironic, not ironic following, but people probably follow him and are like, I wonder what Cisco's up to.
I was real close to going to see them. Where was that concert? Drew Hill was a part of something, and I was like, I'm fucking going to see Drew Hill. I didn't go, but he looks exactly like you would expect him to look. He's just wearing like Jordan brand gear, like him from 10 years ago.
He upgraded in life.
Yeah, all them thongs.
Thoughts on Pena on the Angels? Obviously, the Orioles total is a little bit concerning. Hold on. Fucking GM sends, we need double dongs today for guaranteed dong. How greedy are you? Like, what do you want from us?
He's looking for the DP today.
It's such a, we're not wizards. Like, whenever we pick a home run, it's an amazing accomplishment that anybody's able to do that at all.
We're really good at it. It's an amazing accomplishment when Jake gets one.
True. Jake has struggled. He has had some struggles. But geez, don't be greedy, man. You get a one home run out of us. What a treat. Shark, our boy Shark, who will be on the show next Friday because he won a GPP and sent us a screenshot, points out that he would just like a GPP winning lineup. So, while you're making all these outrageous requests, why don't we throw that in there? Bastards. Oh, call up Alex.
Oh, that happened quickly.
Yeah. We are going to bring on board our man, Alex Baker, better known as Osmo, top player in the world. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. Preferably ones that aren't, hey, can you guarantee winning lineup? I think that generally doesn't help us out too much for direction. But if you have questions for the boss man, put them in there. We'll get them. It's coming on right now. Do. There's
the boss.
What's up, guys?
There we go. How's it going, Alex?
It's great. How are you guys?
Good.
Pretty good.
It's Friday, so we're feeling good. We got a lot of games ahead of us. You had your big lineup card article today where you break down kind of your worldviews on the slate. I guess you want to take the people through. What do you feel like are the inefficiencies that you're targeting the most on tonight's slate?
Yeah, definitely. So the concept of the lineup card article, for people who aren't all premium, is that it's kind of like looking at this, who's going to be the chalk tonight. That's really useful information when you're building your cash lineups and also for GPPs, because you can't just pick all the best players every night and think you're going to win GPP. You gotta be outsmarting people, kind of zigging when other people are zagging. So that's kind of what we're going into in the article. Breaking down the chalk spots like you guys were just talking about, the Rich Hills and Marco Gonzalez, and also the stacks. So, yeah.
Where do you feel like are spots to pivot at? Obviously, you mentioned Marco Gonzalez, Stroman, some of those other guys. What do you feel like is a pitcher that's in that same price range, but maybe people are overlooking a little too much?
When I was writing the article, actually, the ownership was a little bit different than it is now, because Marco Gonzalez was I quoted it in the article, but he's at 19 now. Rich Hill's at 35. So both of them are among the most popular on the slate. I actually prefer Gonzalez. I don't have him projected quite as high, but Rich Hill, first of all, I mean, you never know when he's going to get a blister. That has to be a significant concern. Probably it won't happen, but it does happen once every dozen games or something, and then you're out of luck. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so the other chalk guys on DraftKings are Cole and Stroman. Cole, he's expensive, so that's the big drawback, but he is the best pitcher on the slate. Stroman, he's 30% owned, and he's a cheap value. Those are the kind of guys that I like staying away from, because the chance that they have a mediocre or bad game is pretty high. So if a lot of ownership is concentrated on those players, that means you can get an edge most of the time when everyone has them, and then they have just a meh game, a below average or average game.
A lot of people in the chat are asking about Sandy Alcantara. They're going against the Mets, who strike out a pretty high amount versus righties. Actually 26%, which would be one of the highest on the slate. How do you feel about Alcantara? Obviously, a very limited sample size, but his K per 9 numbers look pretty good, getting some swinging strikes. His team total's not great, but how do you feel about him?
I think that he's definitely playable. Based on my numbers here, he's like 3% owned, but I have him as having about an average chance of being one of the top pitchers of the slate, maybe a little bit less than average. But he is a good value, so you can definitely get him in there. And since he's 3% owned, that's a good sleeper pick.
Alan Brock is asking sort of a game theory question for a 20 max tournament. How many teams would you try to stack in that, let's say on a slate like this, and that like a 14 game slate, I guess? How would you approach that?
Also, 20 lineups. Usually those tournaments are pretty big, so it really depends on personal preference. You're kind of diversifying more when you add more stacks. But if you have a really good read on what the most profitable stacks are, it might make sense to stack those more in your 20 entries, and then maybe have the differentiation be who's in the stack, or maybe what other players you're using in that lineup too.
Also, while we're talking about that, how do you feel about the concept of like hedge stacking? Like, let's say you have a pretty high variance pitcher. It's something that Jake and I have talked about this week. How do you feel about approaching that? Where you have a high variance pitcher, you're playing him a fair amount, you go against in one or two stacks just to kind of cover your ass. Is that something that you would advocate, or is that something you try to avoid?
I think that definitely can be something you think about when you have a kind of high strikeout pitcher that also has bad control or something. That's a lot of guys in the league now. I wouldn't necessarily do it just for the sake of diversification. It would just be because, I think both of them are good plays based on the pricing. Like last night was a good example. I think there was that Cincinnati pitcher going against Milwaukee. Dave Sclafani, yeah. I think he ended up doing pretty well, but, that was definitely a high variance spot where the price justified playing him, but because so much ownership was on him in a lot of lineups, I stacked the Brewers, kind of hoping to get an edge because less people would have players against the pitcher they're rostering.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see. Are there any stacks in particular you feel like are going under-recognized? We talked about the pitchers. What jumps out to you as a stack that people are maybe overlooking in terms of tonight's slate?
That is definitely a tough one. It's a little bit easier for me tonight to look at stacks that maybe people are overvaluing.
Okay.
One might be Texas, where they have the highest ownership on DraftKings and FanDuel. But based on my projections, they're not really a great value. I prefer the Angels because they have about the same chance of being the top team tonight, but their ownership or the pricing is a little bit less, so I think you can get an edge by going to them. And then one stack I do like, I think I might mention it, that I didn't like them in the article earlier, but throughout the day, the ownership's been looking good, is Toronto. They're 8% owned on both sites, but I have them as the top value stack of the day, where 8%, that's not that high, and they have a great chance of being one of the top scoring teams tonight.
Yeah, pretty good team total on Toronto's side, and the stack is pretty affordable, so it can make a lot of things work. How do you feel about the top pitchers tonight? Obviously, there's three pitchers who are pretty priced at a higher level than most of the other guys. Do you have a strong opinion on any of those, or I guess is there an approach you would take when you have three pitchers like that who have pretty big upside but also come with a steep price tag?
I think that tonight the optimal lineup construction is going for those mid-price guys like Hill and Gonzalez. So you can it's kind of a paying up to be contrarian spot where going up to Cole or Corbin or Bauer, they're not great values. So it can be worth it if you have a stack that you want to get in. That's like a value stack. Obviously, you're left over with a lot of money to spend up on pitchers, so those are the guys you'd want to go for.
Alex from A1 Dan CD. Alex, what do you think about DraftKings adding fantasy tennis? Are we going to touch that at all or have any tennis content on Awesome?
I think that's awesome. I've always wondered, how they would do it because tennis isn't a sport that lends itself easily to fantasy because, like, the longer the game is, like, the closer it is, people are getting more aces and winning more games. So it's kind of interesting to see how they did it. I think they did it so like the people who win like straight sets will get the most points, which probably makes sense. I kind of like the idea of maybe like trying to go for those 5-game sets, like the close matches, to get more variance. But I think it'll be really interesting to see. Hopefully, we can get some content up on awesome.com to help everyone pick some guys. But one of the cool things is that the tournaments aren't. They're not that big, so I think that it will be kind of easy to break it down.
I don't know. Mixed men and women tournaments is going to be pretty interesting.
Are they doing that?
Yeah.
Really? That's crazy. I thought it would be one or the other. That's awesome.
Yeah, apparently it's both. And then there's going to have to be some sort of mechanism for scoring since women play less sets in Grand Slams.
Yeah, they actually, they have some sort of bonus based on like how many, if it's best of 3 or best of 5. So yeah, I think that's mostly Grand Slams and other tournaments. The guys play like best of 3 sets, so it will make like a huge difference.
You mentioned before that you thought Texas was a little overvalued, and a lot of people, I feel like there's a lot of people always hyping Dylan Covey. I don't know if they're with their White Sox fans or just people who believe a lot in his potential because he's a top prospect. How do you feel about Covey tonight? Would you play him? I mean, if you don't believe in Texas, or is he still not a great play to you?
I mean, I don't recommend it. That'd be a very high risk play. I just like stacking against a team with a high total just seems like there's not a lot of potential there. But in baseball, there's so much variance. Maybe like it'd pay off. I just don't think it's like the best play.
Got it. I guess, is there anybody else pitching? I mean, there's so many pitchers on the slate. Is there anybody else who you feel like is being undervalued at pitcher? We've talked about a lot of the chalky guys, but there's a million other guys falling in between. Like, I'm a little intrigued by Joe Musgrove. I think he's in an interesting spot. He's done well here and there. Obviously, playing at San Diego, that's an interesting place to play. Anybody in that sort of tier who maybe isn't getting as many touts online today in the media?
I think Musgrove is one. Another couple that look okay are Tyler Anderson and Eric Lauer, but they're not great options. It'd just be kind of to be contrarian.
Got it. From Brandon Parker, do you play MMA on DK? And have you ever thought about starting to do content for that?
I do play occasionally. We've definitely talked about content. I know Josh, you're a big MMA fan, so. Yes. Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe if we started doing more research and stuff for the site, we could do it. It's not like a super high priority right now, so that's kind of why it's been on the back burner.
Yeah, data is kind of hard to come by there.
Yeah,
it's a tough challenge for when you're a statistical analysis site like we try to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to force you to do this, Alex. I know it's a tough game and you're going against 2 pros, but do you want to give a home run pick tonight?
Yeah, you guys haven't given one, right?
No.
Not yet.
I'm going to go with Mike Trout. Like, how could I not?
I like you. So last time you were on, I believe you went with Robinson Chirinos at a spot where it was not expected. This time you're going the other way. You're going all the way up the price chart.
Well, I learned my lesson last time. Chirinos didn't hit a home run, so I'm like, maybe I should pick a guy with a better chance.
That's fair. I'm going to go with Rhys Hoskins. He's been slugging lately. He's got a pretty good matchup with Fetty Wap. I think he's going to take him yard tonight. So I'm Rhys Hoskins all the way.
Well, I'm going to probably take a little bit bigger of a risk than Mike Trout. But give me... All right, I'm going to get weird with this. Luis Valbuena.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. You're going all the way off the board.
Hey, he's pretty high in my home run model.
He's a good home run hitter. I mean, he's one of those guys that is like kind of a Joey Gallo, except maybe not quite as extreme.
Yeah. He's got good power, but if he's not getting on base, he's not hitting home runs. All right, sure, Josh. All right, so that's the man. Follow Osmo at Osmo DFS. Obviously, that's where he's tweeting things, talking about DFS. I mean, not all day. He's not one of those guys. He's not annoying about it. But Alex, any parting words before we let you go for the week?
Yeah, just thank you guys for watching the stream and supporting our site.
All right, thanks, Alex. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, see ya.
Yeah. That is Alex Baker at Osmo DFS, our boss, the top DFS player in the world. Go follow him, honestly. He likes the followers. We all like the followers for Alex. He deserves it. He's putting out good stuff every single day. So go check him out there. Valbuena, huh? He's showing off for the boss man is what that was. You're like Mike Trout. Let me whip my dick out. Here's Luis Valbuena for you.
That's pretty much exactly how it happened in my head.
I imagine I know you too well at this point. I've been doing the stream for months. I'm inside your head. I think Rhys Hoskins was an inspired pick. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. If these lineups don't stop trickling in, I'm never going to get this crunch done. I still haven't finished a FanDuel one.
I still have to finish one rally cap or whatever, mini eights on DK is what they're calling it. I have to finish one lineup, and then I'm done.
Oh,
what's your favorite way to stack on FanDuel? Brandon T sees a lot of 3-3-2 type lineups near the top of a GPP. What would you recommend, Josh? You're the FanDuel guy.
Either 4-4 or 4-3-1, depending on if I have a pitcher in one of those fours.
Can you not go fives on FanDuel?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
The most you could have from one team is 4, and you have to have guys from 3 teams. So if you set it to 4-4 and your pitcher is from one of those teams, you need to drop to 4-3-1. So I try to get as much 4-4, but depending on how the games shake out, it could be a lot of 4-3-1.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. And as Shark points out, I just got an alert on my phone that Lonzo Ball does have a torn meniscus, so that's gonna throw a wrench in a whole lot of shit.
Yeah.
That sucks. Least. I like Lonzo. I mean, I might be in the minority on that, but I think he's a fun player. I'd rather have him.
I'm not the biggest fan of his old man.
No, his dad's annoying, but I mean, in the current American economy, he's doing everything you need to do to be famous and to kind of keep your name out there. So
yeah,
I
just like the way that I think it's negatively impacting his son or sons for that matter. So like that's my problem. I don't care that he's an asshole. I care that he's an asshole and it affects like 15-year-old kids.
True, and he didn't earn his way to the NBA. He's just he's coattailing a little bit. It's not great.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation, but do not drag your teenage son to Lithuania to play basketball. Just don't do that. There are better options, I swear.
They did get paid, though. They did get paid, relatively.
Great.
Hey, Josh, I hear they are casting for Top Gun 2. Any thoughts on you and me auditioning for Maverick and Goose? I think I would be a fantastic Maverick, and I think Josh would be a great Goose.
Oh, that's bullshit. I'm Maverick, and you know it.
Yeah, you're Maverick? Get out of here. Get out of here. Come on.
I'm clearly Maverick.
How are you Maverick?
I don't know. All the obvious reasons.
Oh, yeah. The lady. You could not perform Take My Breath Away in a bar. I do that all the time. That's what I did that last night. So I can sing it all over the place.
Not only could I do that, but then I could put on the weird fat suit and sing that Flo Rida song at the end of Tropic Thunder.
Also that. You could do that. I still think I would be Maverick, but hey, you know what? Put up a poll. Say who would be the Maverick, who'd be the Goose. I think I'd be the Maverick.
I'm too tall to be Tom Cruise, man.
Exactly. That's why you're Goose. I feel like you have more of an Anthony Edwards build.
Yeah, I just don't want to be Goose.
Just be Goose. There's nothing wrong with that.
Can we pick a different tandem movie?
Lethal Weapon.
Which one of us has to be black in this scenario?
I think you would be Danny Glover because you would be more like I'm tired of your shit.
That's fine. That's fine.
I know it's not his famous quote, but I just feel like that's the attitude he brought.
Danny Glover, that's the guy that put out that "This Is America" song, right?
Yes, they're all the same, is what you would say. All the Glovers, all those
just like
dirty
the fucking
Glovers.
Wayans brothers, man, the Baldwins. You can't keep those people straight.
God.
Right.
Have you seen the new Hot Ones episode with Embiid? That's your favorite show, Josh. Have you watched?
I watched the first 3 wings and then shut it off because it was boring.
I still have to watch the Trick Daddy one. I keep forgetting. Oh, something I keep forgetting as well. Josh and I both smoke a lot of weed. We forget things. We are currently loosely looking for a community manager for the site. Somebody who will handle social media stuff, tweet articles out from the different handles and whatever that we have going. So if you are interested in that, I wanted to offer it up to our community first because I know we have a lot of people who hit us up saying like, I want to write, I want to work at DFS. Your jobs are so blah, blah, blah. So if you're a person who tweets a lot, tweets about DFS, knows the world, email me, chris@awesemo.com, AWESEMO. And if you have thoughts, just put something together. Give me your resume, give me your background, why you think it'd be a good fit. You don't have to be a community manager. You just have to be a person who knows Twitter, knows Instagram. You'll be competing against for the right to be a part of the Awesemo team. But email me, chris@awesemo.com, if you want to get involved. We'll be probably looking at that more in the coming weeks. So, yeah, I don't know. Try to give jobs to the people. That's we're employers.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to DFS stuff. Sushane's not playing, but wanted to say hi. Sushane, you're a good guy. We appreciate you. Did you watch the season finale of Jersey Shore Family Vacation? I didn't yet, and I love this season now.
Haven't seen
really
it
good
as well. So, no spoilers.
I see all the news blurbs now about like Ronnie and his chick, and they're just what a disastrous situation.
Yeah, well, he's a disastrous person, so.
But so is she. Like, and they didn't present her like that at all in this show. But boy, she's like hurting him and dragging him in a car.
She should. He sucks. Have you watched this season?
He does.
He's a horrible human being.
No, you're right. He does suck, but
he has no ability to like remove himself from a negative situation. Fuck him. I wish you would have drove over him with the car. Jesus.
I can't believe Sammy Sweetheart isn't involved at all. Like that's the shocker to me. I would have thought they would have at least like made her cave and she would like show up for an episode. But,
I can't believe Paulie D turned her into a fuck doll.
Ooh, Paulie D can turn any woman into a fuck doll. That's the kind of man he. Matthew Prodwell, MLB, please. We'll get to MLB. We would come on, give us a break.
MLB for 30 minutes.
So to be clear, I'm not going to answer your question now. I'm not even going to offer it up to the room. That's punishment. So this is not me. You just have to learn today, Matthew Prodwell. I'm sorry. Bold prediction, Yasiel Puig has 2 homers. How do you feel about the Dodgers in general tonight? Going against Tyler Anderson, a guy that Alex felt like is not a bad play. I always like the Dodgers more than I should. I think them and the Diamondbacks. I'm always like, yeah, you guys look great, and then they fucking don't do a lot. How do you feel about the Dodgers tonight?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I have no Dodgers.
Okay. I don't either currently. I do have a little bit of Colorado because I wanted to stack against Rich Hill a bit, and I do like some of those bats. I don't know. I don't see it for Puig tonight. Like the hard contact that Tyler Anderson gives up, not that great. They're at Dodger Stadium, which is not a fantastic home run park. And Puig's power versus lefties, pretty lacking, .096 isolated power. So I'm going to say not 2 dongs for Puig tonight. Favorite catcher on DK, if money's not an issue.
Let's hop over to the compare tab.
Oh, that's right. Josh has a new thing on his spreadsheet that he made. He's very proud of, and it looks pretty cool. So let's see how this works.
Favorite catcher. Evan Gattis has the highest projection for me. I would say that probably Russell Martin is the best value, although he's projected to have the most ownership. I'd say probably someone like Yadier Molina is the best play. He's a guy that I have a lot of that we're not projecting a lot of ownership to. So if money is no issue, I'd probably go Molina.
I think I like Real Muto a fair amount today. Catcher. I mean, I didn't play a ton of him, but I think he's a pretty strong play if I were going to play a one-off. And, a guy who jumped out to me a fair amount is Elias Diaz. It's not a great home run park, but I feel like Diaz is maybe a little undervalued. And I don't know. I have a couple of lineups where I'm playing against the Padres and a couple where I am going with Lauer. So I don't know. Like Lauer's team total is pretty low, but he does stink. And Elias Diaz might take advantage of it. I don't know. Whatever. Card stack. Is that going to be chalky tonight on FanDuel? I don't think it'll be chalky.
No. Right now we have them at 9th.
Yeah, I played a little bit of Cardinals on DK, but it wasn't one where I was like crazy about it. Let's see, what do we have? Tiaz all the way. Damn you for telling the 250 people here. Hey, if you guys win money with Diaz tonight, you know who to come to. I don't know. I actually didn't play a ton of Diaz, but he did jump out to me a lot. I just didn't get there. Indians stack versus Blackburn. I'll give you that one, Matthew Prodwell. How do you feel about Cleveland tonight?
I basically don't have them.
You've been going against Blackburn, who you are a known hater of.
I am?
I feel like you always hate Blackburn. You're like, he sucks. He's the worst.
I mean, he's really not good. He projects for 3.1 Ks today, so... God damn, another fucking lineup in the middle of everything.
At least all the lineups are in now, right? Everybody but the Royals.
Yeah.
Stupid, stinky Royals. How do you feel about Marco Gonzalez tonight? We kind of blew by him.
Hate him.
Okay, fuck.
I'm not even trying to be funny here. I have 1% of him on DK. We're projecting 19. I couldn't be further away from him.
Got a very low team total on the other side, and the Royals do stink. I don't know.
Not for me.
Okay. I mean, not a ton of upside. I don't mind him as kind of having his price isn't fantastic either. If he were like low 7s, I might like him a little more. But I do have a pretty decent chunk of him. I don't know. I think he's got like a low risk, pretty low floor, or rather low ceiling, high floor. That's how I feel about him tonight. What do you guys use when predicting first starts for players? For example, Alcantara for the Marlins today. Do you use those projections provided by Fangraphs or more towards minor league stats?
I mean, both, I guess. You should use every piece of data that you can get your hands on.
Mm-hmm. And Alcantara, he's pitched. This is like his first start, but he's pitched in the big leagues before, right? Because he does have numbers.
Yeah, I think he's made some appearances last year, but I might be thinking of someone else.
Okay, yeah, because he does have some. I don't know the number of at bats, but he has like a terrible xFIP versus righties in his limited appearances, and actually pretty decent one versus lefties. He's 8.91 versus righties, and his obviously very limited sample size, versus 3.39 versus lefties. But he does give up a fair amount of hard contact versus lefties as well. I don't have the number of plate appearances in front of me, but that's what I'm seeing for his majors.
Yeah, pause for a second. Christian Giustiano, is there a reason that you type Jag for life at the start of every message? We couldn't quite figure it out this morning, and I thought it was really weird, so now I just need to ask the question.
All right, Christian, we're waiting on you, buddy.
Because I don't get it. I hope there's like a logical reason.
Is there not somebody in the chat named Jag?
No, not that I'm aware of. That was our first guess too.
He's branding. He's branding himself every single day.
I'd go a different direction.
He's just a big jagger. He just likes to jag off.
Big fan of that show that was on USA.
Wait, it's okay. He didn't type it in that one. That's his FanDuel name. I'm confused. I'm confused by this explanation.
I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, that's great that it's your FanDuel name. You don't have to tell us.
Who's Osimo's big dong? His home run pick was Mike Trout, GM sends. So there you go. That's the guy you wanted all along. Mike Trout. We're digging deep for just you, GM sends. All right, Mercy. Mercy asked a question which I wanted to hit. Corbin and Bauer plus Angels and White Sox people and one-offs. Does that sound good to you?
Go ahead again.
Corbin and Bauer plus Angels and White Sox people and one-offs. That's not a great question, Mercy, but I'm trying to answer it for you.
Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
Now everybody's saying Jag for life.
Motherfuckers.
I love you
That's
all.
what you get for pointing shit out, you know?
That is true.
All I was trying to do was ask what I deem to be a very reasonable question. All of a sudden, you guys just shit on it aggressively.
Oh, man. What is your take on your tonight? Do you mean Boar? Y-O-U-R? I don't... Guys, it's Friday. You got to make this easy on us. I can't understand your questions.
With technology where it is, you would expect people to spell better, not worse.
It hurts. It all hurts. Oh, Bauer. Okay, he's asking about Boar on Miami. Boar.
He plays today.
Also, one-off Boar versus DeGrom. No, you are not one-offing Boar versus DeGrom because DeGrom is not in the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're planning on talking DFS for Saturday, I don't really have that information ready yet.
I think Boar is an okay play. I think there are other Miami players I like more because Oswalt has been worse versus righties, I believe. I'm not even gonna look that up for you because you did put in the effort to type for me. So that's where we're going. Jag for life. Jag for life. So many Jag for lives. How do you feel about a Milwaukee stack tonight?
Where are they? Yeah, I'm like double the field on the Brewers. So okay. I like them. Do we need when we get like merch made? Can we get Jag for life shirts?
It would be the most random way to advertise the site imaginable with that merch.
Well, we'll put the Awesemo logo on like the back where the WWE shirts put all their logos and shit.
Chris, autocorrect gets our messages. I'm sure some of them that is the case, but I also think sometimes people get a little ham-fisted, and you could help your old boy Spags out by making it easy to read when I am sick and Friday-brained.
Yes, help your old boy Spags.
What, you just like that phrase? Say fuck you. People say old boy. That's like actually like a black Twitter thing. Old boy.
Oh, sorry, man. I'm on white Twitter. I didn't get that pass yet. You got an invite for me or something?
Any 9-hole hitters that you like tonight?
I mean, I didn't set up that functionality because I don't give a shit if they hit 9th. So I don't know. Probably.
I have one Marisnik lineup tonight.
That's not a requirement. Why are we talking about this?
I don't know. You just asked. You asked. People ask. I try to answer. If you at least give me like a good question, like sure, I'll try to answer. Try real good. Try real hard. Top outfielder under 4,200 on a DK GPP lineup.
All right, outfielder under 4,200.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, Jesus, there's so many. GPP too. Looking for somebody with low ownership. Maybe Marcelo Zuna. I think he's a little under-owned. Yeah, that's probably the extent of it for me.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, Jake's pick, by the way, to make sure you note that on the chart, Nolan Arenado.
Okay. I'll forget.
I do like that pick. Josh Shack, really? Josh Shack, that's a stupid question. You're getting a little timeout.
I didn't see it.
Just ask, like, when you're going down 2 men at the same time, how do you guys choose which one gets to shoot first? It's just like, are you 11? It's not even like a joke. You're just describing a homosexual orgy, which is fine, but it's just like not a live chat question.
Not that kind of live chat.
No, I agree. Put user in timeout. I like that. It's so derisive.
Could you imagine if it was cool enough that it like took the dude's chair and just like jammed him in the corner in his house?
I would like that quite a bit.
Like people had to sign a waiver to get into this chat, and all of a sudden we were just like, beat it.
Can we get a World Cup lineup for tomorrow? I don't know.
Nope.
DeAndre Jordan opted out? What an idiot.
I mean, now he's free to sign a big contract with the Mavs.
If they even want him.
But they do.
I don't know. I'd rather they actually. I listened to your guys Dunked On the Nate Duncan podcast, and I actually liked their move where they did like a mock GM thing, which by the way we need to steal because that was
Dude,
like
the mock off season and the mock trade deadline are by far the best shows that they do. They're incredible.
Yes, they're really entertaining. But they recommended that the Mavs take Montrezl Harrell for like $20 million instead. Yeah. I'd rather do that in a heartbeat.
I don't know. They're starting to get kind of loaded.
The Mavs?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he'd be a great fit there. He gets boards. He's so effective per minute. I would love to see him get a starting lineup. Dizzy TBB, I don't know why you hate Jared Carrabis. He's a fine guy. I know him as a human being. I worked with him. He's a good guy. Two best pitcher options for $15,500.
Black. I don't know. There's probably 50 combinations of legitimate options there. 15.5. I don't. Corbin and nope. Rich Hill and Musgrove, I guess. Nope. Oh yeah, that'll be 15.3. Yep, Rich Hill and Musgrove.
What about Marco?
What about Marco?
Seems like you're forgetting a certain Marco Gonzalez. I'll tell you, not Richard Evans, whoever asked that. Steve Schuster, the guys that I had in that group, I rotated a bunch of Musgrove, Marco, and Hill. I think they're all pretty okay. I'm not as antsy Marco as Josh is. Do you like the pitcher Pena on FanDuel?
Not really. I mean, I have a couple percentages of him, but it's not really like the guy on FanDuel that you should be looking at.
Yeah, I think in general you don't advocate for those guys that cheap, right?
Not really. It's hard for them to like make a dent on FanDuel.
Okay, so let's discuss the of the night, Makad, because I think we need to figure out this branding a little better. It should be Paul Blackburn of the night because the emphasis on the guy will probably suck. So, but the thing is, Paul Blackburn the night that I chose Paul Blackburn did suck. So I don't know that I want that to be the award name. That's why I think it's Mike Minor of the night.
I don't know. Does it have to be a pitcher?
Yeah, it has to be a pitcher.
Okay.
I mean, like, let's see. Who would be a pitcher who looks... not somebody I'm playing, but I just feel like Dylan Covey would be the one who I would say fits that criteria. I don't think he's good. I just feel like he is better than... I don't know. I actually don't think he's good, but fuck it. He's my pick.
There you go.
Not playing him, though. I am not playing him. It's much funnier when you have to pretend... Makad, I'm not here for your amusement, even though technically I am here for your amusement.
Literally what our job is, basically, to amuse the public.
Ian Kennedy, not playing him, that's my pick. Yeah, that's the thing, too, is like I feel like the Paul Blackburn has to be somebody to talk myself into. I did not talk myself into Covey at all tonight. It's probably Marco Gonzalez, because he does suck. Jag for life, loved Pena, but not as much as he loved Jake Marisnik last night. Oh, and he's shit-talking you, too. Jag for life. Life.
Oh, God.
Fridays are the best.
You know who's also still a shit pick today? Jake Marisnik. Just like he was a shit pick yesterday.
He's not the best, but he's 2,800 on DraftKings.
Do you know why?
It's a shit pick.
Yep. You don't see a lot of guys with salaries under 3,000 on DK, but he sure as shit has one, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Makad, I'm glad you're a premium member. I like you. I appreciate you. You came up with an award. You came up with a segment that we do every night, so you're fine in my book, regardless of what we name it.
Makad bought hot sauces on my recommendation. If you want to get on my good side, just ask me for hot sauce Rex.
There you go. I was fine with Shabazz. You know what? You're right. I was fine with Shabazz Muhammad of the night. But that was also, fine. You pointed great holes out in my logic. I just want to be remembered for my successes instead of my failures in every aspect of life. Would you take Abreu and Vasquez or Castellanos and Mathis?
Abreu and Vasquez.
I actually like Mathis a decent bit. Again, I always like the Diamondbacks, but I think it's also Abreu and Vasquez for me. Cole Calhoun hitting leadoff or Josh Reddick. Who would you go with?
Cole Calhoun or Josh Reddick? I don't know. Which site? I'm sure we don't know, right? Right.
Internet.
Cole Calhoun. It's not close.
Yeah, I would also go Calhoun. I mean, just him hitting leadoff alone is more than enough for me.
If it's DK, at least. If it's FanDuel, it's Cole Calhoun.
Okay.
I meant to say that way. It's Cole Calhoun regardless. Shark. Shh. We're not talking about DeMar DeRozan.
I do recall that. That is what put you on the map in terms of being a prognosticator.
Yeah, I'm surprised ESPN didn't hire me right on the spot when I made that fucking awful call.
That's why we have to try to present more of the, like, here's the thought process behind why you would go with that guy, because then you're not fully putting your ass on the line.
It would be the equivalent of Marisnik hitting a grand slam in the first.
It would be.
DeRozan just went absolutely fucking nuclear from like minute 1. It was over before it started.
I remember I played in that night too. Actually, somebody else said that in the chat. So I did play in that night, and I watched your stream and remember being like, well, that Josh guy, he was real wrong.
Yeah, look, that shit happens.
You busted your own balls for it about as well as I would have if we were doing the stream then, so I think that was fair. Tough but fair.
I busted my own balls in a tweet like 5 minutes into that because it was already just gone. Yeah,
he had like 20
hit value in like the first 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that's DeMar DeRozan for you.
Yeah.
Paulie wants to know who's the top SP on the slate. I mean, that's a tough question to ask Paul or to answer, Paulie, because it's kind of overbroad. But for me, it's Patrick Corbin.
I mean, it's Cole for me. But
yeah,
I don't really know how that question is being asked.
I feel like you don't respect the Rays much, and I get why, but they do like so. I noticed today when I was looking at the numbers and stuff that they strike out a lot, but their WRC plus is still pretty high, and I feel like that's the reason why they're always kind of in the mix versus these really like elite pitchers. I know the total. I get it. I get Garrett Cole is also good, but I'd rather go Corbin versus a worse team who strikes out even more.
I mean, I don't find these questions to be particularly close, but if we're just talking about ceiling, it's Cole like 1,000 times over. If we're taking salary into account, like Corbin closes that gap. But I've got Cole basically 3 times as likely to be a top scorer compared to Corbin. So.
Oh, all right, fair.
Yeah.
I always appreciate when you give the explanation. That was a good one. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I mean, I like giving the explanations when I have like an explanation to give. A lot of the times it's just bullshit. Like it's just my answer, but I've got like legit answers for that.
Favorite bats from the Rangers lineup?
We lock in 9 minutes. I'm so behind. Favorite bats in the Rangers lineup. Andrews, Mazzara, Beltre, Odor, Gallo.
Okay. I agree. Excuse me. Musgrove on FanDuel. How do you feel about that?
Not that good. I mean, good enough. I have 9% of him, but he's not like an overwhelming pick.
I think he's better as an SP2 than he is an SP1, and which is, I mean, obviously on FanDuel, that's all he would be.
I would agree.
Who scores more, Bauer or Corbin on FanDuel?
Bauer.
Corbin! Yay, we disagree. Carpenter or Abreu tonight?
Carpenter.
I think Carpenter is a little interesting as well. Don't mind Abreu, but Carpenter is a little interesting. 3-2-2-1 on FanDuel. Is that a terrible idea?
I wouldn't do it.
Tough but fair.
Yeah, that's. I wouldn't recommend it, but you know, more than one way to skin a cat, I think, is a saying. So I just skin my cats differently.
Upton or Hoskins? No site given, but my pick is Hoskins regardless of the site.
Man, I need to know which Upton too. Jesus.
It's clearly Justin.
I'm not being serious.
Oh. Kate?
Reese Hoskins or Justin Upton? I'm sure it's Justin Upton, considering he was a quick hit today.
Is the other Upton still in the league?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, that's sad.
Boss Man Jr.? Yeah, it's Jay up by a mile.
How do you feel about the Cardinals overall versus Tehran? Obviously, you're not a big Tehran guy.
No, I'm not in multiple ways. I'm over the field on the Cardinals, basically like doubled up on them. There's the Royals lineup. Not that it fucking matters at this point. There's no way I can do 2 more crunches. So I hope these guys are just in already.
You don't want to stack against Marco Gonzalez anyway. He's an elite pitcher.
Yeah, I have it written down here specifically to crunch like just Royals lines, and I'm not even going to be able to do that.
That's so mean. You're so mean to poor Marco. He tries so hard.
Yeah, and we've got some weird stuff going on in that lineup. Do I have any Royals? Does it even matter? It doesn't. I'm not even going to correct it. I don't give a shit.
Jeez. It's just one of those days.
Well, like, I can put it in here, but I'm not going to get 300 lineups on FanDuel crunched out just to correct Alex Gordon not being in the lineup. I already don't have him, so it's not worth the fix.
I know, it's big news. Big news in the world of sports. No Alex Gordon.
Yeah.
I'm taking Kate Upton. I agree with you, Jeremiah Johnson. I think Kate Upton was so overrated for a while that she became underrated, and then now she's properly rated.
Just to be specific here, that woman was never overrated.
She was pretty refrigerator-like for a while. At least the perception of her. And I'm not allowed to say that.
I'm in for it. I'm in for it.
Do you like a Colorado stack at all? I do, Makad.
The Rockies are on that same list with the Royals of teams that I needed to force in because they weren't going to come up because they look like shit. So, no, I don't like them, but I like them because of their situation. So, in interest of getting to the point quickly for you, Chris, this is good. So, I have... This was a little bit different before the DeGrom news, but not that much. With all of the ownership on Rich Hill, I had his chances of being like a top pitcher relatively low and very little exposure to the Rockies stack. So I felt like that was a nice pivot point where I didn't believe as much in Rich Hill as the public, so I wanted to get some Rockies. It's the same reason that I was looking at fading Marco Gonzalez. I had him really low in my upside from a pitching perspective. His ownership was through the roof, so I saw a gap there where I wanted to try to make that up. Also for the Tigers, I was looking to fade Stroman a bit and get on the opposite side, but not happening now. Fuck it. We lock in 4 minutes. Good luck, everybody.
All right, Upton, Brantley, or Castellanos on DK?
Okay, we could do that one. I mean, the answer is assuredly Upton. Someone who didn't watch Quick Hits. Uh-oh. There we go. DK, Upton, who and who?
Brantley or Castellanos.
Oh, God. I'm not going to be able to type that in. Nicolas Castellanos. I think I got it.
That's pretty good effort.
No, I didn't get it. Too many N's in Castellanos, but that was that's just like a fat fingered issue. Got it. Okay. So, yeah, it's Upton and it's not close.
Let's speed round. Thames or Upton on DK?
Upton.
Thames for me. Upton or Peraza on DK?
Let me get all of those guys in there. Upton or Thames? That's still Upton for me, but it's closer. If Upton and Peraza is a real question, that person should remove themselves from all of their contests today.
Hey, Peraza had a great night last night. He's obviously going to do it again tonight.
I have him with 60% of Upton's projection. So
close, real close.
Pass.
Let's see. Any love for Ryan Braun tonight?
Yes, a ton of love for Ryan Braun.
Hoskins or Stanton? No site given. Hoskins.
Hoskins or Stanton?
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second.
Sure. Good time. Jack for life.
Red Sox. Dude, I couldn't remember. I don't remember looking at the Yankees today once.
It seems to be a
I started to think that they weren't playing. I haven't seen Stanton's name. Yeah, I have him in 1% of my lines. I don't want it. The answer is Stanton, but I don't have either of these guys.
Jake and I talked about that earlier this week, where we felt like people just never think about the Yankees for some reason lately, and I think it is an interesting thing to consider, especially in a rivalry game. I feel like those could either be very low hitting or they're going to be very, very high scoring games. Those Yankees and Red Sox games. Upton or Marisnik?
Fuck whoever asked that question.
I appreciate that, Jeremiah Johnson. That was good. Upton or Carpenter on DK?
Upton or Carpenter?
Whatever. Didn't even get a good lineup then for my rally cap one. Who cares? I'll give up.
Upton. Yeah, it's still Upton. Although if the positional eligibility helps you, go the other direction.
Yonder Alonso is a one-off. How do you feel about that?
I'm cool with that.
Okay. Jag for life is a one-off. How do you feel about that?
Not a fan.
I think we are locked now, by the way. So there we go. We have kind of like CC tonight. You know who I didn't play tonight? I did not play CC Sabathia. So yeah, it's tough.
See,
but
these big 14-game slates where things aren't going well, I didn't have a chance to bust your balls at all about him.
He didn't make my list anyway. He wasn't one of the guys I was going to. So, not a great run total.
I brought it up earlier today, but I was waiting for an Uber outside of my hotel in San Francisco with Dusty Baker.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Did you say hi or like?
I gave him a nod, like, I know who you are, but I don't really have anything to talk to you about. And he gave me the nod back, like, yeah, I'm Dusty Baker.
I made a line with chocolate cake, Sabathia.
What would you say to Dusty Baker? Like, hey, you're a real cool manager. I love when you played on the Braves 7 years before I was born. Like, I felt like the nod was the perfect way to, like, reconcile this.
I feel like I'd be like, hey, Dusty, why do you always blow out your pitcher's arms? That's one thing I know about him.
Yeah. I should have been like, yeah, do you think you can get back into managing so I can roster your starters before you blow them up?
Hey, Dusty Baker, how angry do you think Kerry Wood is at you every day?
Christian, we don't hate you at all. It's just part of the shtick, man.
No. There are maybe two people I've hated in this chat over the course.
You're not even remotely close.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about
it. That Jag for life shit was really, really easy to bust your balls on.
Josh Engelman, have you created your own lineup optimizer?
No, I'm not that talented.
No, he is still a Mantasy cluncher guy.
If I were able to create my own optimizer, like if I had the skill set to be able to put out something like that, it would be a commercial product.
Yeah, that's a fair point. We are at some point going to have an optimizer on the site for premium members, but we ain't there yet. At some point. Oh, Grand Slam for the Cubs.
What?
Good.
Oh, for the
Cubs.
Early game. I was like, dude, that's not. There's no way three guys already got on and someone went yard in 2 minutes.
Maybe if they're going against Marco Gonzalez.
Christian, you don't have to change your name. You just don't have to do that.
Yeah, like you make the choice to not paste it in or to say it.
Just don't write it, man. Like you can just skip that part. Save yourself 8 characters.
I'm okay with Jag. I actually enjoyed Jag for Life quite a bit, and I enjoyed everybody else doing it as well. So I'm okay with you, Christian. You added great value.
Hold on. Optimizer. TMCB 74. Optimizer in Excel is way easier than the projection sheets you made. Dude, I cannot build a optimizer in Excel that's going to give me 330 FanDuel lines. That thing will die. If it was that easy to build a 330 lineup optimizer in Excel, Fantasy Cruncher wouldn't exist. They'd put that shit out in Excel.
How would you use ownership projections for Osmo on Fantasy Bluncher?
I mean, kind of like I don't. If you don't tune in a lot, it's hard for me to explain this, but like kind of the way that I talk about it generally. So we'll look at this area for right now that I'm highlighting. So what's in column AC is my personal ownership. What's in column AD is our projection for ownership. And then, this is for pitching at least, AE is my odds of being a top 2 scoring pitcher. So who would be a good example? All right, perfect example. So like Marcus Stroman, we were projecting to be 30% owned. I had his chances of being a top 2 pitcher at like 7%, which isn't terribly shocking. He also has a good chance to be a high valued pitcher, but I didn't want to go anywhere near 30. So I set my cap to Marcus Stroman's ownership probably around 10 or so. And that brought me in below that. So the first draft of crunches that I'll do in the mornings will give me an idea of like where my optimal stuff will be. I don't really do any filters of anything. I don't change my own personal ownerships. I just kind of see where my numbers are putting me. And then I'll adjust those based on where we think the rest of the field is going to be. So if it's too high or too low, that all changes once I get that info. Sorry, that was long-winded.
No, that was good. You're going long form today on Friday.
I'm getting my brain function back after the long vacay.
I think the people appreciate that. For Makad, he could swap a second baseman when you go Starlin Castro, Kettle Marte, or Travis. I actually like Travis a little tonight. I think people always overlook Travis and part of that stack.
All right, so that was Starlin Castro,
Kettle Marte, and Devon Travis.
And that was I assume DK.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we're not really projecting any ownership on any of these guys. They're all within 0.3 of a point for me. Ooh. So I would say probably one of Marte or Castro. I would go Marte, but I think that I probably overrate him a little bit. It's honestly a coin flip.
Okay. I actually always underrate Marte, and then I put him in lineups and he does nothing, and I go, you son of a bitch. And then when I don't play him, he does well. So you should have picked Marte because I did not play Marte today.
We want to take a quick look at some of the ownership in the mini-max before we get the hell out of here?
Yeah, sure. Who's username TomJK321? Tom is our COO.
Some loser.
Yeah, what a fucking dork that guy is. No,
big loser. I think.
He is our COO, who is also a professional DFS player, and he wins a fair amount of tournaments. So our 3 senior management type people who are also pro DFS players are Tom JK321, 1-800-EDDIE, and of course Osmo. It'd be weird if it weren't Osmo.
1-800-EDDIE, man. I'll never get over that. That's so fucking good. I'm jealous of that shit. What the fuck? Can I just open these goddamn contest standings?
Also, Makadas out of Dirty Dicks was your recommendation for a Pepper Palace Black Rose or a different sauce?
Pepper Palace Black Rose. That's just like, the thing is my jam. I would be remiss if I didn't recommend that at all costs.
I mean, very rare you get to experience a palace full of pepper.
I mean, that's exactly the case. Please just open. I don't want to deal with this. Okay, there we go. Stroman, 24%. Garrett Cole, 23%. That's fun, I guess.
Oh, Mike Trout homered.
Did he really?
He sure did. He sure did. Good job, Alex. If you're watching.
Oh, boss.
He's now got the best percentage out of all of us.
That's just unfortunate. You don't have enough wins in your life, man.
You have to take this from us. Why?
One thing in life. All right, so Garrett Cole, 23. I've got 34 on DK. That's pretty exciting. I'm happy about that. Stroman at 24. I have 9. I couldn't be happier about that. That's about all for like interesting shit here.
All right. Do you guys own or are partnered with Muncher, or do you guys just use it? We just use it right now. And who knows what the future holds? Who knows?
Trey Turner, dong. I could have done without that one. Was anybody on for either of these homers? Because that doesn't. That's actually a really good home run for me. Never mind. Whoops. Apparently, I have a lot of Trey Turner. Didn't know.
I do not have much Trey Turner or any Trey Turner. It looks like you have Nick Pivetta, who a little bit, who has minus 2.45 already. So
yeah, I had a decent amount of Pivetta.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have a Trout lineup with Pivetta, so that's good. Good job, Chris. Whatever.
I've got a Turner and Trout lineup, and I'm in 6th in the Minimax.
Oh, look at this guy.
And Stroman, who I've loved all day, you know.
I do a fair amount of Stroman. He's getting some Ks. It's Stroman day.
Wow, man, this is a contrarian lineup if I ever saw one. 1.1%, 1.6, 5, 4, 4, 5. Whew. Dude, if this one, nobody's gonna be on this lineup. Holy shit.
I saw an interview with Osmo, and he said he just came to an agreement with Fantasy Bluncher. What does that mean? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll all find out at some point. I don't know what interview you would have seen with him. I didn't know he did an interview.
Yeah, I didn't know this happened either.
He did an interview today on this stream. He didn't mention it here, so I don't know.
Fuck. Hey, boss, you want to stop giving out the scoops somewhere else?
Hey, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But yeah, that's enough for this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to do that. You'll know whenever we go live. If you're not a premium member of Osmo.com, it's a good time to do that. We have ownership projections and rankings going up all weekend for you. So that is a thing that you can do to make our lives better and your own, which is rare. It's really rare for you to be able to help yourself and us at the same time. So go sign up.
Home run in the same lineup. Woo! That's $3.
You also get
10 minutes.
You also get access to that beautiful brain over there for Josh Engelman. You also might not have played Nick Pivetta if you were a premium member of Osmo.com. So go sign up for that now. Any parting words for the week? Are you doing any streams this weekend? I don't know.
I might have to talk about all these GPP wins. I'm sitting in first in the quarter on FanDuel too, baby. Woo! Weekend. Let's do this. I don't know. Yeah, I'll do a stream Sunday morning.
All right, so Josh will have a stream Sunday morning. Subscribe. You'll know when that goes live. Otherwise, we'll be back on Monday with more stuff. Thank you guys for watching this week, and we appreciate you. Good luck.